So what you just witnessed was the actual crime that was recorded by someone, and of course give credit to CNN because that's where I got the article from. So he's convicted of state charges including first-degree murder, 5 counts of aggravated malicious wounding, 3 counts of malicious wounding, and 1 hit-and-run count for injuring dozens of others with his vehicle. And this is in addition to the murder of the young paralegal. And the jury has recommended that he serve life in prison plus an additional 419 years. The report from NBC News says that the jury found that Fields had purposely rammed his Dodge Challenger into the crowd of counter-protesters following the arrest. To pay specific attention to the fact that this man received life in prison plus 419 years. What puzzles me as an African American woman who is studying to go into the mental health profession is the fact that this young white man at the age of 6 was able to have access to a mental health services, so much so that he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder at the age of 6 and then later diagnosed with schizoid personality disorder. Now, I'm just gonna be real. When we see these types of crimes happen and they take place by white men, they always get to plead innocent by reason of insanity, or their mental health is always taken into consideration, right? So what I want to know, or what I want to understand, is and I'm not here to debate whether or not his diagnosis were real. That's beyond the point. But it does bring up the question is that every time a white male commits a crime, their mental health is always taken into consideration. And it's kind of like a win-lose type of situation, because what I do as a black person, I can't identify for everybody else, but prior to the education and knowledge that I've received, I would just disregard the mental health aspect, period. But when you look at the video and you see what he did to those people, you can clearly see that there's some type of mental instability that would drive him to commit a crime like that. That's clearly undeniable. Cannot deny is that, again, when white men commit these crimes, they're able to show, or there's some type of report showing that they have some type of mental illness. And I advocate for mental illness and mental health care and mental health knowledge, but it puzzles me that these men who have access to it and they still go and commit these crimes. What does that say about not only the profession, but how can we improve the profession? And even more so, how can black boys and black girls have access to that same type of service? And how can that service be taken into consideration when they're committed and convicted of crimes? And what puzzles me the most about this, because again, it puts me in I'm torn. I'm torn between the fact that there's this white man who identifies with white supremacy, who can run his car through a crowd of people, injuring several dozen people and killing one. But then on the other side, I see a man who's troubled with mental illness. And as someone who has come to understand the importance of mental health, I'm kind of split between this sentence. 419 years plus life, that's harsh. And I'm not trying to justify his crimes. I am asking, though, that we would take into consideration, or how do we take into consideration that, yeah, he did something bad. It was horrific. He took someone's life and he injured several other people. He had a mental illness. And I'm not saying it to be light, because it could be anybody could struggle with mental health illness. But he has this documented that he had bipolar disorder, and not only bipolar disorder, but schizoid personality disorder. And if those in fact are true, should that be taken into consideration when it comes to giving him this sentence? Because I just think it was a little bit harsh, just on my end, but I could be wrong. What do you think?